For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Once again, I'm going to talk about oversharing on Facebook. I feel this person shared some ridiculous personal information. I want to know what you think. And also, motivation, technology, working from home. Are computers on the way out? Outside of work, do you use a computer anymore? Those are what we're talking about today on The Scribble, and it starts right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. Let's talk working from home for a moment here. Actually, and computers. Working from home and computers. I'll combine them. Oh, I'm going to throw everybody for a loop on this one, you guys. We're going to do it in one segment. We're not breaking it into two, because I'll tie these stories together. Everybody was thinking the dream would be to work from home, right? 2-3 years ago, when I started out as an entrepreneur, that was something that I heard from people all the time. Oh, you're so lucky you get to work from home. Very, very, very quickly when everything shut down during at the beginning of the pandemic, right? The novelty wore off very fast. And then I was always laughing because you had these people coming on and saying, well, no, I get dressed in the morning. I'm prepared just like a regular work day. That's my motivation. I keep going. For me, I figured it out. I worked from home for about 7 years. It was probably the most boring thing that I ever did, especially because it was a creative role, right? Hosting a radio show, interviewing people. You can only get so much excitement talking on the phone all day or talking to a wall and into a microphone. So it was a bit of a hassle. And I would, at the very beginning, I was taking jobs in offices just so that I could get out of the house. And then I would still do my own work in the evening at home. But I never needed the motivation. To me, it was always great that, hey, it's a nice day. I can take my computer out into the yard. The dog can be in the backyard. I had one dog at the time. And, we can lay out in the sun. He can splash in the pool, whatever. I didn't need to have sort of a regimen. Like, I didn't need to have discipline. Like, I wasn't kind of, I got to set my alarm clock to get up, and do this. Again, it's a different story if you are an entrepreneur and you're the boss and you're making your own schedule. Yes, I understand that there's a difference between, hey, I've got to report to work for 8 o'clock, and then I can roll out of bed whenever I want and get the work done as long as it's done, right? Some people have that flexibility now working for somebody, but anyway, so the point is that when I got my house years and years and years ago, 14 years ago, I always had a dedicated office. My house is very big, and so I was an entrepreneur. When I moved in, actually I was an editor at a magazine publishing company, but I was starting to do some entrepreneurial work on the side. A side hustle, I guess it's now called. It wasn't called that back then. And then it was just called extra income. And I always had an office in my house. And I had the same desk from when I lived with my parents, my same computer desk, my same filing cabinet. I didn't get anything new. And that was just my office setup, and it was great. I bought a water cooler. That's okay. So I did buy a water cooler, but everything else I had already had, and it came from my parents' place. I didn't need to be cozy. I didn't need to dress it up with flowers. I didn't have to put pictures on the wall. Bottom line is that I needed a desk and a computer to get my job done, and that was it. I didn't need that, the extra, motivation. I didn't need those things. But a lot of people did find that to be necessary to get their job done. So I would like to know from you, after that very long explanation, if you were working from home, or you still might be now, did you need that kind of push to get your day going? Now, if you've got kids that had to get off to school or whatever, or, see your partner off to work, whatever, you were probably going to be up anyway. I get that, sure. But I'm talking about, when the house calmed down and it was just you there, would you be in your bathrobe on the couch with your laptop? Or did you need to be, seated like you're sitting in an office, upright in a chair, at a desk, feet on the floor, typing away? Did you have to do all that to get your motivation and to get your work done? I'm very different. Again, being a writer, it's completely, it's not even the same that I would, go through. Because for me, writing isn't like flicking a light switch on and off. If I'm feeling creative in that moment, then I'll grab my computer and I'll start writing. I might even grab my phone if I'm in the bathtub and start writing from the tub. If I'm in the backyard, depends. If I've got my phone with me, if I've got a computer out there, I'll just start writing. Like it's just when the mood hits you. Writers will understand. And so for me, I can't say that I'm more, and I've also been known to take my computer up to bed. The rule in my house is there's no technology, meaning, you're not going to be you're not waking up in the middle of the night and scrolling your phone, social media. The phones aren't allowed there, but I will take it. I'll have the computer on the table beside the bed. And so once I wake up, then yes, I'll open the computer and get to work. There were times when I would, when I had an old senior dog who was, he's deaf and he just liked sleeping, and, that was great for me, that, yeah, I would stay in bed till maybe almost noon if it was a rainy day or a gloomy day or something like that. We just wanted, and I'd get a lot of work done. So it just depends on how the mood strikes you. So send me an email. Tell me what your work day is like from home. Do you get more work done if you've got your feet up on the couch or on the coffee table? live@jbonair.com is the email address, live@jbonair.com. Now, let's switch gears. Here's that second topic that we were going to discuss after a break, but we'll continue on. It's on the subject of computers. Do you use your computer more, less, or the same as you did, let's say, 5 years ago? And what I mean by that is so many people will just go and grab their phone, their tablet, bring up a website, do some shopping online, whatever it is. If you're working from home, of course, you potentially are using your computer. Maybe it's your computer, your work computer, whatever it is. You're using a computer, whoever it belongs to. But do you just randomly go to your computer to look up things? I guess that's what I'm getting at. Or is a phone just as handy, right? I can just dial it up on my phone and get the answer. How much do you use a computer if it's not for work? Is it less? Again, you can play games on your phone, right? You play games on your TV now. But I'm talking about an actual computer, actual like desktop computer or a laptop even. How often are you using a computer? And the reason why I ask is because I hate getting a new device. I hate getting a new phone. I hate getting a new computer. Because it's just not going to be the same. I know where everything is on my desktop. The folders are all there. I might not remember the exact order, but I'll know where it is on the screen. And if it's not in the exact same place, then it throws me off and it just frustrates me. So I avoid getting a new device at all costs. My computer that I have on my desk at home, I actually have two computers on the desk, but one of them is actually probably about almost 20 years old. We had that from when I lived with my parents. And then the other one is probably about 10 years old. And it's at the point now where it's not doing the updates because I don't want it to, because it's getting all new versions of the programs or the features and what have you, and I don't like them. I don't like the new Microsoft Word that's just so big and all the buttons are huge. I like the old school one. So I just purposely don't update that computer. Well, now it's becoming clunky, right? Now it's always wanting to update the web browser. It's always wanting to, get the new version of this and that. And so I don't like it. And so I'm debating. The reason I'm telling this story is that it's not on its last legs yet. It literally, I'm not kidding you, I timed this. It took 17 minutes one time to start up. Not to actually start up and get into Windows. That's not, just for me when I opened a web browser or I clicked on a folder, it makes that grinding noise and you can see that it's doing something, or the Internet Explorer window will come up, or the Firefox, whatever it is. Internet Explorer, listen to me. The Firefox, or actually what is this one called? Mozilla. Right? Is that Firefox? Is that the same thing? I don't even know. Anyway, so that comes up, but you can't see what's in the window yet, so you're just getting that white box from your web browser. 17 minutes from the time I hit the power on I logged in right away. That it boots up fast. It's just now all the programs that open and it takes. So if I have my computer shut off for the weekend, we don't really work. I don't work Friday, Saturday, Sunday typically, even though you're listening to this on a Friday. So if my computer's off for that 2-3 days, when I turn it on Monday, if I turn it on when I need to get right to work, I'm kicking myself because I almost need to start it up in the morning. What was that infomercial? Set it and forget it. The Ronco food dehydrator or one of those rotisserie oven things. I got to set it and forget it. I got to hit the power button. I got to log in and then I got to go walk the dogs for an hour. Got to shampoo my hair. I'm going to go and, do this and then come back to it because then it's ready for me. But yeah, I'm just stubborn like that. I don't want to get a new one. I don't like the new updates for it. So that's what happens. And I find myself questioning if I need an actual computer. I do for work purposes, right? Obviously, if I'm producing radio shows and interviewing celebrities and things like that. But then I wonder because there's also apps that do all that recording for you. And you can do that from your phone. There's just something that I like about having a computer in front of me. It just seems more easy to get things. I like, with the mouse and being able to click and touching the screen on the phone or a tablet or whatever, it's okay. But, when I'm working with files and moving things, it's just easier with a mouse. But like many people who got rid of a landline years ago, right? If you didn't use a home phone and you just now have a cell phone, I'm kind of in that predicament of maybe I just need a really good laptop that can go room to room and whatever. Do I need the desktop and a laptop and a phone and a tablet? I'd like to know how many devices you have. That's maybe my next question. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com. Do you have 2 cell phones? Actually, I've got 3 cell phones, 2 desktop computers on my one desk. I've got a laptop. And, do you use all of them? Are they all up to date? Do you have one that's old but just has a bunch of stuff on it that you don't want to get rid of? Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. Let me just read my notes here to see if I covered everything in that one. Does having a legit office space at home motivate you, or is it more comfy and productive with a laptop on the couch to work? Aside from working from home or at the office, do people use computers anymore, or is it all phones and tablets? Mine takes 17 minutes. Yeah, okay, there we go. Got it all. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com. Back in a moment.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Jeremy Bradley on the Scribble. I've made no bones about my dislike, my hate, my uninterest in social media. I wrote a book called Put Down Your Damn Phone already, so I certainly am not one of those people who is glued to my phone. I don't have the hand cramps because I'm just... I was on... This is years ago. I was on the subway in New York, and I had to take a picture. I was one of those people that I had to take a picture of people that without them knowing. There were 2 women, or 2 or 3 actually, sitting beside each other. This is before Corona times when you could sit beside each other, and like hunched over. I'm doing it now. You can't see obviously, but just like heads down and shoulders up, like that. And I thought, and I think I captioned it. I ended up sending it to a few people, to a few friends, and I captioned it with like, oh, and the chiropractor says that anyway. So I always get a kick out of when people overshare on social media. Usually it's Facebook because that's where you can post the big, long-winded rants. And I often wonder why people do it. Is it just to get support and sympathy from others? I think so. Is it that they don't want attention? Sure. I've got a story for you. To me, I just find this a fascinating story. You don't even need to know this person to find it to be a fascinating story. Now, I'm going to give you the full background on this. I'm not naming names. I'm not outing the person. I'm not, I met this person on a red carpet, I would say more than 10 years ago, honestly. We were at the America's Got Talent red carpet. I was broadcasting live for our radio shows. And, when you're a media outlet, and I don't even know, he was from some website, some blog at the time. And you often don't know the people beside you, but you chit-chat because you're going to be standing beside each other for a good 2-3 hours, right? So you just strike up that conversation, you have this banter back and forth. Well, this guy thought that he was such a big shot. And, you know, he overheard me doing interviews, and he made some comments about how he liked my style and blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, okay. And he was just even dressed. I actually thought that he was going to be on Let's Make a Deal. Like, he just kind of had this, like, glittery coat, and you just knew that this is somebody who the red carpet moment is about him, and it wasn't even about, like, the guests or the people that we would be interviewing, which is kind of the point of the red carpet. Right now, again, thanks to social media, everybody gets the... Like, before, when I would do a red carpet, I wasn't dressed to impress because I wasn't going to be photographed. I was reporting it for the radio. I wasn't doing selfies with the celebrities. You just didn't do things like that. Now you do when red carpets happen. And so this guy, he seemed like a big shot. I'm not saying that I felt he was. I'm just saying that was the vibe that he was giving, was that he was trying to look like a big shot. And when I overheard him doing some interviews, I kind of thought, this is basically just a guy who's kind of fanning out on people. Like, I don't see him as a journalist. Like I said, this is going back, 10, 11 years ago. Blogs weren't really a thing. So, not everybody was a broadcaster at that point. Not everybody was a writer. There was still some legitimacy to broadcasting. And so, anyway. So then this guy, Patti LaBelle, was one of the guests on the red carpet. And he was calling her Miss Patty, which, I mean, I guess that's a thing that you just do, because I think that happened with Miss Franklin, with Miss Aretha, Miss Gladys Knight. There's somehow you add Miss in there. I don't know why. Again, I've never pandered to that, but anyway. Or kissed their ass like that. And so all of a sudden, now I was in line first, so Patty came to me first. Or Miss Patty came to me first, and I did the interview, and, whatever. And then she moves down the line, and she goes to him. And you can't help but overhear when somebody just starts singing on a red carpet, and so he just started singing, and I'm watching Patty's face, and I'm thinking, she's got to be just like, I'm going to keep a straight, I'm not going to burst in this laughter in this guy's, like, let's watch this. I was waiting for her to crack a smile or just something, because you knew that she wanted to laugh in his face. That's basically what it was. Just for the sheer fact that he's just like serenading Patti LaBelle on a red carpet, and you're sort of like, okay, why is this happening? Like, what is going on here? And so from that point on, he added me on Facebook as a friend shortly after that. And I've never had a conversation with this guy in my life since then. So it's not even that we're friends, but for the purposes of social media, we're quote unquote friends. Okay. Again, I don't even think I've ever messaged him on Facebook. He met me on a red carpet. This is back when networking was kind of a thing. And then all of a sudden, boom, now I've got a new friend. So, you know how there's some people where you kind of just already know the types of posts that they do? Well, he's one who, again, believes he's this big broadcasting, entrepreneur, whatever. He's not. One of my producers even said, like, I was scrolling through his previous job history, and even that, you go and look and there's like 20-something jobs in the past 5 years, and you're like, yeah, that's somebody who's not quite got it together professionally, I would say. Anyway, so the other day, I noticed a whole bunch of posts coming from him, right? And again, I swear to you, I spend less than 5 minutes a day on social media. It's maybe even 5 minutes a week. Really, I'm not even joking. I'm not one of those people who's like downplaying it and go, oh, I don't have an addiction. No, I really don't. And I said this before. I don't give two shits about what people are doing every minute of the day. And just like I don't feel you should care what I'm doing. You shouldn't care that I went to this restaurant yesterday, or that I took the dogs to the park today, or that I broke my blender the other day at home. Like, if you do care about that in my life, you need help. You need to get a life. So anyway, I laugh because I couldn't care less. But I do enjoy the drama. And so, now again, not mentioning this guy, I've got his Facebook page on my screen. Turns out he was having some drama. Now, I am not downplaying violence and threats or anything like that. I'm not making light of it. My purpose in telling you this story is, one word, oversharing. Is oversharing one word? Hyphenated, compound word, 2 words? I don't know. Anyway, let me read you this. Now, it's kind of long, but again, the purpose in reading this to you is just the ridiculousness of you are putting this out there for the world. For all of your, let me just see how many friends he has. Does it tell me that? And, you just sort of look at that person and go, okay, maybe you're oversharing a little bit too much. Okay. So, see all friends. Does it show me how many friends that he has? And again, the point of me telling you this is just that you look at this person and go, you are sharing this story to a lot of people. To a lot of people. Here we go. Okay, so it says, Thursday, my 27-year-old cousin came to LA because I need help organizing and listing the inventory for... I'm going to remove the name. What we soon learned is that she is a lying and manipulating, unstable individual. Last night was the final straw. The day prior, she got in an argument with my mom, and I told her to keep her voice down. She not only raised her voice, she opened the door so the neighbors could hear. My mom couldn't take it, and she left. Last night I was concerned because my mom wasn't answering her phone. I told... Now, it's got the name Ruby. If anything happened to my mom because of you... That's when she yelled, "You're toxic and I don't have to listen to you," and put on her headphones. I turned off the radio and told her, "You need to get your stuff and go." She then gets up and slaps a bowl of cereal out of my hand and opens the door and yells, "Help, help, he's hurting me." She then called the Sacramento sheriffs and said I was attacking her. They patch her to LAPD. She continued to make false allegations. That's when I went to the manager as a witness to protect myself from this damaged individual. As we are waiting for the LAPD, she begins yelling again that she has established residency and that I can't kick her out, and begins to laugh. LAPD came, separated us, and in the end escorted Ruby off the property, telling her that she is a visitor and has not established residency, and if we don't want her here, she is then trespassing. She then tried to extort $600 from me. The cops stopped her and said he doesn't have to give you anything. I gave her a phone charger, some clothes, and $40. I came to LA with nothing, not knowing anybody. I stayed in a homeless shelter and I survived. She had options. She failed to comply with our house rules and tried to jeopardize our well-being, and guess what? I have no heart for that type of behavior. She didn't want to comply with the conditions and abide by our reasonable requests. It sucks this is how it ended, but she made her bed, now she doesn't have one. And then it says, update. Mom is safe and sound, staying with her best friend. We're still concerned because now we are finding out that she has retaliated against her mother and broken into the house, cutting herself and then blaming her mom. And then while she was here for 3 days, she bragged about burning down other individuals' trailer that she had been kicked out of. This woman needs help, and we are thinking about filing a restraining order of protection against her. That is one post. So, like I said, that's a very long, it's a lot to unpack, there's a lot there, but think about how much of a shit show clusterfuck you are sharing with everybody. This is like, so now, here's another post then, this is a few hours later. I dropped my phone in the toilet and it's starting to die. I don't have rice. I will be without communications very soon. This is not good. Love you all who have invested with me. Talk to you later. Okay, so I guess the phone dries out. I'm up, the phone is still alive and so am I. Mom is still at her best friend's, but she is ready to come home. Ruby said if we ever kicked her out, she would live in the homeless encampments around LA. Now the next post, later that day, 20 minutes later. Now I'm finding that she damaged a lot of my vintage clothes by taking them off the racks and putting them in piles, and she then threw my racks in the dumpster, but not before bending and breaking them and making them unusable. The next post. I want to thank those who have reached out and replied with comments of support. Mom and I are here together with a machete and some mace should she return. I will protect my mom and myself at all costs. Our fear is that she will meet up with some nefarious characters on the streets and convince them to come rob us. In the 2 days we spent with her, we can see her acting in that manner. Then there's a glam shot of his bedroom, which has Christmas lights, it's very decorated like a 13-year-old. And then, now there's a screenshot of what appears to be a text or some sort of a message, a direct message. The guy writes, Officer Carol, this is part of the manifesto my mother and I received last night. We called LAPD. In the morning, we file an order of protection. So the screenshot reads, I'm going to put this in writing so that you see it just how much I don't care about you. Please show this to the cops the next day. The next thing I'm going to say. You better believe I'm coming back and breaking into the house, and I'm breaking your manager's windows, and I'm robbing him too, and I won't get caught, and it's not the first time I've done this. If I was you or your faggot failure of a son, I wouldn't be able to sleep. You better get... And there's no periods, by the way. These are all just run-on sentences. If I was you and your faggot failure of a son, I wouldn't be able to sleep. You better get more than just one fire extinguisher, and you better start locking your door, because I made friends with all your hobo friends already, and they're coming to get you, and I told them exactly where you live, and I told him you leave your doors unlocked. I told them the gate code, and I told them about the balcony that is attached to this guy's room, with the doors are always open. We already came back last night and cased your place and slept in your storage area right below you. I told you, so you guys stole all their shit they think you stole. Again, you're posting this screenshot to the world for the world to see. What is, like, I mean, there's something entertaining about it. Like I said at the very beginning of this story, I'm not making light of threats and machetes and mace and robbing and burning down My point is, even if you have 200 friends on Facebook, I have no relationship to this guy whatsoever. As an onlooker, I'm sitting here going, wow, this is fucked up. But the logical side of me is going, why are you putting all this? You're just actually making this worse by going on these rants, because if it does go to court, or if there's this battle and your life is being threatened, why are you putting this out there? Like, why are you're making it worse? I have had situations in my life, in my family, where I've had, I wouldn't say a blowout, but, disagreement with somebody, or, I told this story several months ago on the show. When my husband first came here from Brazil, I literally threw his ass out of the house. He was literally out in the cold with nowhere to go, twice. Because he betrayed me, and there were just some issues in my relationship. I certainly did not go on now. We're talking 4 or 5 years ago, so it's not it's water under the bridge now. But point is that I didn't all of a sudden run to my phone and start posting that, oh, he's an asshole and he did this and he did that, no. A few people knew. My brother, my accountant, and my cousin, and 1 or 2 other people. It was not broadcast publicly. There was no real-time play-by-play. Just my life isn't like that. So for this person who, when I read the comment about failure of a son, I don't know him very well, but based on what I know, I kind of agree. But anyway, but the point is that, you're not doing yourself any favors for looking like a professional, for looking like a grown-up, you could be on the receiving end of harassment and threats and whatever. You don't have it play out like that, though. That is, I don't know. Sure, you could already go and say, well, let me just see. You've got, 21 comments on one of them. Somebody even does say, maybe you should stop posting this publicly. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should just sort of quiet down. 21 reactions. There's 10 comments to this one. 17 reactions to this. 7 comments. 12 reactions. 5 comments. Yeah, I don't. Then have private messages going back and forth. Just do something. But for me, and now just when I'm looking at this, again, I see that there's probably about 15 past jobs listed here. I don't know what you're trying to get out of this. I don't know. Tell me your thoughts, by the way. So when you, and you see this about people's relationships, romantic relationships, where, my baby daddy and he hasn't paid and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, shut the fuck. Just play this out in your own world. It doesn't need to be a reality show. There's something fascinating about this. Now, you might call me a hypocrite because I'm intrigued. I'm waiting to see the next post as to what happens. Did the house get burned down? Did they, I want to, that's just the sick part of me that's watching along. But yeah, I just don't know. Tell me your thoughts about oversharing like that. We're halfway through I've burned half through the audio, 30 minutes, but whatever. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. It's got me flustered because I don't know. Again, I've had some deep shit go down in my life. It's never played out like that. And even if it was, actually, I did have a family member who, she had some relationship trouble, and I remember messaging one of my cousins going, is this out there for the world to see? Because I didn't really understand how Facebook worked. I thought that you could just have it so that friends or family or whoever could see. We found out that she was basically blasting her her boyfriend at the time, and yeah, we just didn't get it. So live at jbonair.com, live at jbonair.com.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Out of time on the Scribble. Talk to you next time, everybody. Bye-bye for now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a Speak Free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,